My campaign for Attorney General is about first principles. And it's about first principles because I believe that we have forgotten to live according to and under the Constitution. Government is not our master, it's our servant. And as the Oklahoma Attorney General, I believe it's important to use the office, the tools of the office, the Constitution and the courts, to hold Washington accountable, to make sure that our first principles are protected of liberty, limited government, and rule of law. You know, I think that my dad and my grandfather both influenced me a great deal. My grandfather in the sense of being a nurturer and encourager, someone that always encouraged me to pursue my dreams. My dad was one that always drove me hard to commit myself to work ethic, a commitment that if I really wanted to pursue and achieve, I had to work at it very, very diligently and never give up. I think because I was born, a couple months early in 1968, I weighed less than 3 pounds when I was born. I always had to strive and fight and seek to persevere, and it's something that's internal to me, I think, and my dad drove that in me, and I think my grandfather was one that nurtured and encouraged alongside of that. So both of them made quite a difference in my life. Marlene and I met at the University of Kentucky. She was 2 years ahead of me, and we dated for a couple years and then got married. What attracted me to Marlene was her independence and her strength. I mean, you could see that, saw it in her the first time I met her.
We met almost 20 years ago in college, and Scott, since the day I've known him, has just been incredible spirit. He's a man of his word. He's a man of strong convictions. He's a man of principle. I believe he's led by the Lord and doing what's right.
I think you see that all through Scripture, that faith is hearing His voice and hearing what He's saying to you and responding to that, and having confidence that He is able to provide and deliver, and not for your benefit, but to bring glory to Him. And I think with our kids and as a family, it's essential that we talk about that and encourage them in that regard, and I pray we have, and I pray that they understand that just like the Psalms say, God knows when we get up in the morning and when we go to bed at night. He's created us for a specific purpose, and I think McKenna and Cade get that. I think they know that they've got a special calling in their lives, and I think God's going to be at work through them, and that He will use them to impact others and impact this world for Him. Played baseball most of my life. Baseball was a big part of my life growing up. Always wanted to play in the big leagues. Ended up playing at the University of Kentucky. Grew up in Lexington, and actually my junior and senior year in college, went to Riverfront Stadium with the Cincinnati Reds to try out for the Reds, and had a workout there, and pre-draft workout, and thought I was going to get drafted, but didn't work out. But baseball's always been a big part of my life. Growing up, sports, athletics, taught me a lot about commitment, taught me a lot about striving to achieve. Well, my interest in serving as Attorney General goes back to even my very first case when I practiced law. The first case that came in was a case that dealt with religious liberty, with someone who was working for a state agency at the time that desired to have a Bible study in her home in the evening, and the state agency had a policy that said that this person as an employee could not have contact with potential clients of that agency because she was involved in giving out monies, benefits to individuals who qualified. And so they used that policy to say to her that she could not have a Bible study in her home.
I sat down and told him my story, showed him the evidence that I had, and he just ran with it. And he was so honest, he was so kind, and he was so on fire for God's work.
And I stood beside her, and we fought for her religious liberty at that time to say that the state agency could not keep her from having a Bible study in her home. And we achieved that. She got her job back, got restored to her position that she had before, and was able to continue the Bible study that she had started.
Thanks to Scott Pruitt, my job was saved, my children were taken care of, and he saved my religious freedom.
This resulted in, when I was first elected as a senator in 1998, one of the first pieces of legislation that I introduced was something called the Religious Freedom Act. And it was an act that sought to prevent government, prevent others, businesses or otherwise, from intruding upon our ability to practice what we believe in the public square. And we passed that act. We were one of only 10 states. And so in Oklahoma today, Oklahomans have an elevated protection against government's ability to intrude upon what we believe as we go out and practice our faith. And a lot of that relates back to Lynn's case. I love the pioneering spirit of our state. We really believe, I think as Oklahomans, that we can achieve, that we can settle the prairie, if you will, and to grow a state and to grow our businesses and grow our lives in a way that is exciting and entrepreneurial. It's who we are. I seek to serve as the next Attorney General in Oklahoma for one primary and fundamental reason, and that's to advance your freedom and to make government less important in your life as opposed to more. As Attorney General, day one, I would file a lawsuit against President Obama to stop the application of health care in the state of Oklahoma. And so I would set up an office of federalism where I would assign attorneys internal to the office to wake up each day and to go to bed each night thinking about the ways that they could push back against Washington, whether it's related to property rights, the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms, as it relates to our freedoms inherent to the First Amendment with religious freedoms and free speech. The Attorney General must have resources and must have leaders internal to the office fighting that every day. We believed, as at the beginning, that we could govern ourselves. Those first principles included life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Our generation, I think, is a generation that has a great responsibility and opportunity to keep the dream alive. And we have to rise up and do that.